Hey everyone, welcome back to Test Walkthroughs. Today we'll be going over the May 2021 US SAT exam math calculator section. If you like what you see today and it felt like this content has helped you, please consider hitting the like button. If you want to see future content and more of these kind of test walkthroughs, also consider hitting subscribe. And I'm also going to be including timestamps in the video description box below so you can skip to the specific questions that you want to get answered. And also, if you have any comments that you want to put in, you could also leave in the comment section below. Okay, so let's get into the work. Question number 1. It takes 6 hours to travel m miles. At this rate, how much time in hours will it take to travel 5m miles? So this is not that bad. It's just going to be 6 hours for m miles. So you're going to multiply that number by 5. So you're going to get 6 times 5m, and you're going to get 30. So you can cross out the m because they're just looking for how many hours it will take. The answer for number 1 should be A. Number 2, 2x plus 4 equals to 100. What is the value of 6x plus 12? So what I'll do is I'll multiply everything here by 3. And I'm going to get 6x plus 12 is equal to 300. So the answer for number 2 is B. Number 3, a length of 8 furlongs is equivalent to how many meters? So 8 furlongs is how many meters? If 1 furlong is 201, what I do is I take 201 and I multiply by the 8. It's going to be 1608. The answer is D for number 3. For number 4, the curve models the number of fish in a certain population. Which of the following is closest to the number of fish in the population 16 months after January 15th? Okay, so 16 months after January 15th is here. The intersection is here. So that's about 15,000. Number 4, the answer is C. Number 5, what is the ratio of AB compared to BC? So AB compared to BC, that'll be 20 to 5. You could reduce them if you want to, but we don't have to in this case. So for number 5, the answer is B. Okay, moving on to the next question, number 6. Each of the whole numbers from 1 to 20 is written on one of 20 identical pieces of paper. The pieces of paper are then put into a hat and then mixed together. If a piece of paper is selected at random from that hat, what's the probability that the number is a multiple of 3? Okay, so the multiples of 3 are going to be, let's see, 20 divided by multiples of 3. So that's going to be about 6 numbers because, you can't, so the highest number you can get to is going to be 18. There's going to be 6 numbers. So 6 out of the 20 numbers is going to be answer choice C for number 6. All right, number 7. The table shows the maximum depth in meters of the 5 deepest oceanic trenches. Okay, what is the range in meters of these 5 trench depths? Okay, so they're looking for the range. So what we do is we take the high number, we minus the lowest number. So the biggest number here is 11,033. And we're going to subtract the smallest number, which is 10,047. And we're going to get an answer of 986. So the answer is D for number 7. Okay, number 8. The relative yield of corn expressed as a percent and soil pH are recorded for 5 samples. For these 5 samples, the relative yield of corn reached a maximum when the soil had a pH of 6.8. So a pH of 6.8 is when you got maximum. And then it decreased as the soil pH increased. So that means at 6.8 it'll be at the highest and then it'll start going down. Okay, so where do we have a soil pH? Which scatter plot could best represent this data? All right, so 6.8 is where we have its maximum. It looks like answer choice C should be correct because at 6.8 it's over here. This is the highest point and then it starts decreasing from there. Nothing else has a maximum at 6.8 in A, B, or D. So for number 8, the answer choice should be C. All right, number 9. After a new car is purchased, the value of the car is modeled by a function that decreases exponentially over time, which the following could describe how the value of the car changes each year. All right, so if it's decreasing exponentially, that means that it's going to basically be decreasing by a percentage. Okay, so that's what it means when you have something that is exponentially changing. So for each passing time or unit of time, it means that it's going to be changing by a percentage amount. So whenever you have anything that is exponential, it's going to be a percentage. If it's going to be a linear equation, then it's just going to be a constant amount, like a slope. Okay, guys? So right now we're looking for something that says decreasing by a percentage. So let me see, each year is 8 or less more than the previous. All right, so it's not A or B. Each year the value of the car is 8% more. Each year the value of the car is 8% less. So we're looking for something that will decrease. So the answer for number 9 should be D. Okay, moving on to number 10. It says the daily high temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit for a city in the month of February in 2017 are summarized in the box plot shown. Which of the following is closest to the medium of the high temperatures in a degree Fahrenheit? So the median is just going to be this middle number right over here. So that's about maybe 42 degrees. This is about 43 here. So it's about 42. So the answer for number 10 should be B. Okay, moving to number 11. It says the solution to the given system of equations is A comma B. What's the value of 3A plus 3B? All right, this is a trick that I like to do, guys. Whenever you see two systems of equation like this, most of the time you can just kind of like add them or subtract them and see what you get. So in this case, I'm going to add them. I'm going to get 3A plus 3B. And I'm going to get 36, I believe. So the answer for number 11 is D. In the triangle ABC, the measures of the angle C is 90 degrees. So I'm just going to draw this really quick. C here is 90 degrees, and angle A is here. I'm going to put angle B here. Sine of A, so sine of angle A is 3 over 5. Cosine of angle B would also be 3 over 5. So the answer for number 12 is going to be A. One thing that you can keep in mind, guys, is that in the right triangle, if A plus B equals to 90 degrees, okay? And then again, this is only in the right triangle. The sine of A is always going to be equal to the sine of B. I'm sorry, not the sine of B. It'll be equal to the cosine of B. Excuse me for my mistake there. It'll be equal to the cosine of B. And vice versa, you can also take the cosine of A, and that would equal to the sine of B. And again, this is only going to be true though if A plus B is equal to 90 degrees and you have a right triangle. All right, number 13. For the linear function of f, the graph of y equals to f of x is in the xy plane, passes the points 0, 2, and 2, 6. What defines this equation? All right, so we know that the y-intercept should be at 2. That doesn't help us here because every y-intercept is 2. Let's see what the slope is. The slope is going to be 6 minus 2 over 2 minus 0. And that's going to give me 4 on top over 2. So the slope should be 2. So the only one that has a slope of 2 is answer choice C. So 13 should be C. Moving on to number 14. In 2017, the Wyoming State Senate had 30 elected members consisting of Democrats and Republicans. Let D represent the number of Democrats who vote yes for a bill, and R represent the number of Republicans who vote yes for a bill. So they both vote yes. Okay, maybe that's important or not. Okay, sure. For a bill to pass, more than half of the 30 senators must vote yes. Which of the following inequalities represents all the possible values of D and R for a bill to pass? Okay, so it says that you have to have more than half. So 30 divided by 2 is equal to be 15. But D and R has to be greater than 15. It cannot equal to 15. It's certainly not going to be less than 15. So it has to be A because this is the only one where it's going to be greater. You cannot use the one that's going to be equal to 15 because it won't pass. It specifically says that it has to be more than half. Okay, 15. In the given equation, C is a constant. If the equation has exactly one solution, what is the value of C? Okay, so I'm going to teach you guys an equation here. It's called the discriminant. So what you do here is when you have a parabola, which is what this is. This is a parabola here. So you're going to use b squared minus 4ac. And if it's exactly one solution, this will have to equal to 0. So what we have over here is the value of a, b, and c all represent the coefficients. So a would be equal to 1, b would be equal to -2, c would be equal to c, because we don't know what it is right now, that we're trying to find that. So let's plug in our values over here and see what we get. We're going to get -2, we're going to square it, we're going to minus 4 times 1 times c, and this should equal to 0. -2 squared is 4 minus 4c, and that equals to 0. So we're going to get c should equal to 1, because with c equals to 1, it will be equal to 4. So the answer for number 15 should be C, which is equal to 1. All right, number 16. It says the table gives some values of possible values of x in miles of a monorail system and their corresponding cost to build f of x in millions of dollars. Which of the following equations models this relationship? Okay, so to do this one, you can kind of use some logic if you want to try to cross out some of the other ones, but the other option is just to start plugging in these numbers here and see which one works out. I'm going to start plugging in 5, 10, and 15. Let's try the first answer. So 81 times 5, if I do 81 times 5, I'm going to get 405. Okay, so that's good so far. Let's try the next one, 81 times 10. 81 times 10 gives you 810, so that also works. 81 times 15, so that would just basically be 810 plus the 405 is going to be 1,215. So it actually winds up working. The answer choice should be A for number 16. If you plug in the other one just really quick, it shouldn't work. I mean, if you think about it, 405 times 5, it's not going to work for 405, so it's not B. 405 plugged into C is not going to work either because you already started with 405. And it's not going to be answer choice D either. So for number 16, the answer choice should be A. Okay, number 17 now. It says the set of data is represented in the scatter plot in the portion of the xy plane shown. Which of the following linear equations best models this data? Well, one way that you can kind of look at this question over here is you can kind of draw an imaginary line first and see how that kind of fits. So by drawing that line over here on the data, it already looks like the y-intercept is around like 26 or something. Actually should be even higher if you think about it. Actually, yeah, this number here is 6 already. So if we went all the way back to 0, it should even be higher than that. Okay, let me see what else is here. We know that we have a negative slope. So let's take a look at the answers over here. 18 is too small already as a y-intercept. 18 is definitely too small as a y-intercept. We also need to get a negative slope, so that means, yeah, this is out. Let me see. I guess we would be choosing between C or A at this point. So let me see over here. I'm going to just try to see if I can find the slope real quick. So what I'll do is I'll take this point, and I'll take this point over here. So the point I'm going to use is 8, 24, and the other point that I'm going to be using is 26, 16. I'm just going to find the slope. So what I'll do is I'll do 24 minus 16 all over 8 minus 26. And let's see what we get. We're going to get 8 over -18. And then if I push that into the calculator, we're going to get about something about like 0.44 negative. So it's a fraction. So that means between a -6 and a -0.32, the answer choice should be A. So for number 17, the answer should be A. The y-intercept kind of fits, and the slope is definitely a fractional. It's not going to be a whole number like -6. All right, 18 is going to be combined with 19. Okay, so let's see. This is a two-part question. I'm just going to go straight to the question first. So it says in 2016, the total cost for 200 of the books that were sold were between 2,200 and 2,400. Which of the following could be the number of hardcover books that were actually sold? Okay, so there was 200 books that were sold. All right, so we know that the number of hardcovers plus the number of paperbacks will be 200 books. And we also know that the books were sold between $2,200 for the cost to $2,400. Okay, so the cost for hardcover and paperback are here, 14 and 10. So what we'll say is 14H plus 10P is going to be between the values of 2,200 and we also know that it could be 14H plus 10P could also be around 2,400. Okay, so let me see. What I will do is they're asking for which font could be the number of hardcover books. So what I'll do is I'll solve for hardcover books. So let's take this set of equations first. And then what I'll do here is I'll multiply the top equation by 10. So I get 10H plus 10P. And that is equal to 2,000. And then we have 14H plus 10P. And that is equal to 2,200. If we subtract them from each other, we're going to get negative 4H is equal to negative 200. And then H is equal to 50, I believe. And then let's solve for the other equation. So the other equation is going to be the same thing. I'm going to do H here plus P is equal to 200. And then I'm going to multiply everything by 10. So I'm going to get 10H, 10P is equal to 2,000. And then I'm going to get, let me see if we can get some more space over here. 4H is equal to 400. So divide by 4, H is going to be equal to 100. So that means that we're looking for a price range of the hardcovers from $50 to 100. So it'll be 50 is less than H, which is less than or equal to 100. So the only number that fits that would be A for number 18 for the cost. Sorry, not the cost, the number of hardcover books that were sold. Okay, let's try number 19 now. An analyst estimates that the cost of each of the paperback books will increase by 50 cents for each year after 2016. Which of the following models the cost in dollars of each of the paperback books T years after 2016? All right, so let's see what the current cost is right now. The current cost was $10. All right, so that means that it'll be $10, and for every year that passes, it'll be 50 cents more for every year. So that would equal to the cost. So the answer choice for number 19 is C. Okay, for number 20, let's see if we have enough space over here. Draw a line here. It says line M is defined by negative 3 over 4x plus 2, and P is a line that's parallel to line M, and it passes through this point. What's the equation that defines line P? Parallel means that it's going to be the same slope, so we're looking for negative 3 over 4. Okay, so every single answer has negative 3 over 4. Okay. The only other thing that we need to do then is to plug in this specific point and see which one works. So you're going to let x is equal to 4, then y must equal to negative 3. I think I actually see the answer already. The answer should be B, because take a look what happens here, guys. So for this specific case, it'll be y is equal to negative 3 over 4. You're going to multiply that by 4. And then the 4's cancel out, and you get negative 3 is equal to negative 3. So answer choice for number 20 should be B. All right, guys, moving on to question number 21. Which of the following additional measurements to the triangle provides information to determine the length of AB? All right, so you're trying to determine the length of AB, which is this here. So let's see what happens if you have AC. If you have AC, so if you have this, then you can use the Pythagorean theorem. You just use a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, and that should work. So 1 is good. The measure of angle ABC. The measure of angle ABC is this angle here. And if you get this angle over here, you should be able to solve for this and this, which would be the sine of angle B would be equal to AB AB over BC, which is equal to, let me see, AB is X over 25. Yeah, so you have enough information because angle B, if they gave it to you, it'll work out. So 1 or 2 could work. So either 1 or 2. For number 21, the answer is C. Okay, number 22. The solution to which system of inequalities is represented by this shaded region? So let's start with the easier equation. I think it was the horizontal line. The horizontal line is over here. So we're looking for something where y is less than 7. It's also a solid line, so y is less than or equal to 7. So let's see which one has that. Okay, this is x is less than 7, d is less than, so that's not it. So we already know that for number 22, the answer should be either between A or B. Now let's see what else happens over here. This is the line over here. The line over here represents 2x plus 1, and you're looking for y values that are above the line, so you're looking for y that's greater. So y is going to be greater. So for number 22, the answer choice should be B. All right, 23. Paulina has 28 books in her collection. The frequency table summarizes the number of pages in each book. If she buys a new book that has 62 pages, how will this impact the mean and the median numbers of the pages of books in her collection? Well, okay, the easier part to answer over here, I think, would be that if it has 62 pages, it's definitely going to be here. It's kind of like an outlier almost too. So the mean will definitely go up because you're adding a much bigger number. So it could be either A, it's not going to be B. It could be C, it's not going to be D. All right, so now the next part is what will happen to the median? Okay, so now we actually have to figure this out a little bit. Let's see what the current let's see what happens if we find the current median. So there's a frequency of 1 over here, but let's see what the median is with the number 62. All right, so the median if this number is 62 over here, we can cross out this one, cross out this one, and then we cross out the next 4 numbers. So the next 4 numbers here is over here, so there'll be 2 numbers here, and then 2 numbers over here can cross out with 2 numbers over here, which would be 3, and then 3 and 2 over here would be a 5. So the current median should be 50, and it looks like actually, yeah, it's comfortably at the 50, because so even if you try to get rid of one of the numbers, the median should be still 50. So that means that since the median doesn't necessarily change because there's 5 numbers in that median range, and it doesn't look like it's going to be any of the numbers before or after, so that means that the median should stay the same, but the mean will increase. So for number 23, the answer is C. All right, 24. A recipe requires F cups of flour. Arnold accidentally used 50% more flour than the recipe required. What? How do you use 50% more? That's a lot. Okay, so how much flour did Arnold use in terms of F? All right, so if it's just 50% more, then what happens is that you do 1 plus 0.5, because it'll be like 1F plus 0.5F, so it's 50% more. So you should get 1.5F as the total amount. So 24, the answer should be D. Okay, let's go back up to 25 over here. It says the table shows the distribution of objects in a collection by shape and color. Okay, if a triangle is selected at random, what's the probability that the selected triangle is red? Okay, so how many triangles are there? So they're only taking triangles. So that means that there is 7 plus 5. 7 plus 5 means that there's 12 triangles. And they're saying, what's the probability that will be red? Well, there's 5 out of 12 red triangles. So for number 25, the answer should be B. So be careful on this kind of question, guys. They're not asking for out of the total shapes. They're just saying if a triangle is selected. So you have to add up all the total number of triangles. And that would be your denominator. And then what you do is you take the total number of red from that. Okay, question number 26. It says, a group of students participated in a study. It was determined that for each hour of experience performing certain tasks, the time necessary for each student to complete the task would then decrease by 5%. Wendy took 30 minutes to complete the task with no experience. Which function models the amount of time t in minutes that it will take Winnie to complete the task after X hours of experience? Okay, so that means that for every time X passes, right, the amount that you're going to do is 5% decrease. So this is one of those exponential problems, guys. Okay, so what you do is you start off with a base, which is going to be 30 minutes. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take 100%, and you're going to either add or subtract the number that you're trying to get in terms of the percent increase or decrease. But in this case, we're decreasing by 5%. So what we do is we do 30 times 100% minus the 5%, and then we raise that to the power of x, okay? If this was actually going to be increasing the time, then we'll put plus 5%, but this is decreasing the time, so we're minusing 5%. If we were to write this as a decimal, as you can see, all the answers here are decimals. We're going to get 30 times 0.95, because 100% minus 5% is 1 minus 0.05, which gives you 0.95. And then we put that to the power of x, and that will give you the total amount of time it will take to complete whenever x is increasing by a certain number of hours. So for number 26, the answer is C. All right, 27. It says, an equation for the graph is shown is y equals to x minus 1, y equals to x minus 1 times x plus b, where b is a constant. What's the value of b? All right, so this is x minus 1, which corresponds to this root. This is going to be x plus b, which corresponds to this root. So what we do is we do opposites. Since this is a positive 1, we put a minus 1. If this is a negative 3, then what we should do here is do a plus 3. So for number 27, the answer should be A. Okay, let's move on to question number 28. Okay, guys, this is one of those interpretation questions. I can see already because there's a lot of reading. A school club is paid $315 total for recycling C pounds of aluminum cans and P tons of paper. The equation is this. Okay, so what is the interpretation of 60p in this context? Okay, so the way that we can do this is think about the terms of the equation first. We know that the total amount of money gained is $315. So that means whenever you multiply by money over here, each of these represent total amount of money for something and then total amount of money for something. So 0.50C is the total amount of money for C pounds of aluminum cans, and 60p is going to be the total amount of money for P tons of paper. So we're looking for total amount of money, or total amount of dollars in this case. So let's just look at the answers. Is it total weight? No. Total amount in dollars? That could be. Total weight? No, it's not weight. So it's nothing with weight. And we're looking for P tons of paper. The total amount of dollars the club is paid for each ton of paper, or the total amount of money in dollars the club is paid for P tons of paper. So it's not each ton of paper. Each ton is $60, but they're looking at 60p. So it's going to be the total amount paid for P tons of paper. So 28 should be D. Okay, we're going to move on to question number 29 now. What is the sum of the solutions to the given equation? Okay, so we got x minus 3 squared is equal to 81. So the possible answers that can get in here, because if we take the square root of this number, we're going to get plus or minus 9. Okay, so that means that x minus 3 could be equal to positive 9, or x minus 3 could equal to negative 9. If we add 3 to both sides in the first equation, we get x is equal to 12. If we add 3 to the second equation, we're going to get x is equal to negative 6. 12 plus a negative 6 will give us a positive 6. So the answer for number 29 should be B. 30. Each of the 3 data sets represented by the 3 dot plots have 15 values. If the medians of data sets A, B, and C are A, B, and C, respectively, what's the relationship between all of these medians? Okay. Oh, okay. I mean, let's see if there's anything that changed. I mean, all of these shapes here kind of look the same. So what they did was they just took the dot and they put it here, or yeah, they just put it. You could just take the dot and put it here. Okay, so the median should not change, guys, because if you think about it, they only changed the last dot in each position. So that means that the median is going to stay the same. So 30 should be D because all the medians are the same. All the other data is looking the same. Let me see. Well, actually, this number is a little different. So because this one over here starts with a 2 and these guys don't have 2s. Let's see what happens though. So if I cross this out and cross this out, yeah, it doesn't affect it, guys. Like all this data in between. So, oh, sorry, guys. Let me just go back here. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So yeah, let me just go back here and check it here. So all of the data set over here looks like it should be exactly the same. So if I just go like this and make it more a little bit clearer for you guys, it will. I mean, this data and this data will cross out eventually. This data and one of these data will cross out. This data and this data will cross out. Or this one, doesn't matter. And so the median basically stays the same. Every other data seems to be kind of similar in nature. Yeah, it looks like it's hovering around just around the 5 or the 4 region. So looking at this, it doesn't look like the data set really much changed. So it should be answer choice is D. The other way you can do it is you can start crossing out dots one by one. And then you'll be able to see that the medians probably just stay around the same. Okay. Let's take a look at the gridden section now. So let's see what it is. Okay, question number 31. The side length of square ABCD is twice the length of square EFGH. If the area of square EFGH is 9, what is the area of ABCD? All right, so this is going to be twice as big. And they said the area of square EFGH is going to be 9, so that means this is 3 by 3, and ABCD is twice, so that means it's going to be 6 by 6. So the area should be 36 because it'll be 6 times 6. So for number 31, the answer is 36. All right, number 32. The scatter plot shows 11 data points along with the line of best fit for the data. For how many of the data points does the line of best fit predict a y value that is less than the actual y value? Okay, so let's see. You want the line of best fit predict a y value that is less. So what you want to do is you want to pick any point where the value of the dot is above the line. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 dots above the line. So that means the line estimates below that dot in those 5 points. So for number 32, the answer should be 5 for those 5 points. All right, let's take a look at number 33. It says in the given equation, I'm just going to erase this square that I had here before. All right, so for number 33, it says in the given equation, C is a constant. The equation has no solution. What is the value of C? No solution means that they should have the same slope. So C here should be equal to 1/4 because that would give the same slope for two different lines where the y-intercept of the C one has 2, but this has a y-intercept 0. So it doesn't really matter. The equation, as long as it has the same slope, they'll be parallel, no solution. What number is 1% greater than 7,000? Okay, so what number is x? Is 1% greater. So 1% is basically 101% times 7,000. And then if you just take this on the calculator where x is equal to 1.01 times 7,000, you're going to get x is equal to 7070 or 7,070. So for number 34, the answer is 7,070. All right, 35 and 36 is a two-parter. So, okay, let's take a look at number 35 first. It says, if the volume of component B in the liquid mixture is 1 millimeter, what is the total volume in millimeters of the liquid mixture? Okay, so let me just see if I'm reading this correctly. So it says the liquid mixture is composed of 4 components. Each one shows the percentage by volume. The volume of each component prior to mixing is the same as the volume of the component. A procedure can be used to extract the liquid. When the procedure is applied to the exact components, a portion of the volume of the component may be lost. Okay. All right, sure. Okay, it says that the volume component B in the liquid is 1 millimeter. What's the total volume of the liquid? Okay, so this is 1. So 1 represents 25%. So 100% is just going to be 25 times, well, 4. So that's going to be 25% times 4. So you take 1 times 4 is equal to 4. Because it's going to be 1 millimeter for 25%. So just 1 times 4. And that'll give you the 100%. So for number 35, the answer should be 4. All right, 36. It says the procedure was applied to a new sample of 9 millimeters of the liquid mixture to extract component C. Due to the loss of volume from the procedure, the extracted volume of component C was only 90% of the original volume of this component. What was the extracted volume of the component in C milliliters? Okay guys, so they're basically saying here is that the total sample has 9 millimeters. And for component C, you want 20% of that. So what you do is you take 9, you multiply it by 20%, which will be 0.2 or just 0.20, and you're going to get about 1.8 is what you get for C. However, they said that out of this component C, though, you're only going to get an additional just 90% of it, okay? So actually not an additional, you're only going to get 90% of it. So this actually represents 100% of whatever component C was. I know it says 20% of the whole entire mixture, but this represents 100% of what component C is for this 9 millimeter mixture. But out of this 100% though, they said that you're only going to get 90% of this number. So what you do is you take 1.8 and you multiply it by 90%, which is 0.9. And you're gonna get, let's see on the calculator, 1.8 times 0.9, and you're going to get 1.62. So the answer for number 36 is 1.62. All right, guys, number 37, number 38, the last two questions, and you know, you guys can get out of here or enjoy the rest of the videos. All right, so the functions of f and g are defined above, where b is a constant. If f of x times g of x is equal to, well, f of x times g of x, okay, yeah, is equal to 3x to the 4th minus ax to the 3rd minus 3x squared. What's the value of b? Okay, so what we can do here is just put it side by side first. So we know that f of x times g of x is equal to this thing over here. So 3x to the 4th minus 8x cubed minus 3x squared. But I also know that these two numbers here are going to be x squared plus bx, which is the first term. And it's going to multiply by the second term of 3x squared minus 9x. And that will be equal to 3x to the 4th minus ax third minus 3x squared. Okay, so one trick that you guys can do here, okay? These first two terms, if they multiply together, will be equal to the first term. And then these last two terms multiplied together should be equal to this last term, okay? So if you take a look, because this is kind of like a trick on the SAT that they normally do, what you can do is you can also multiply everything out, but I'm going to see if this works over here. So x squared times 3x squared gives you 3x to the 4th, which works out. And then we have bx times negative 9x, and that should equal to negative 3x squared. So what we get is, let's see, bx times negative 9x, and that should equal to negative 3x squared. So we're going to get negative 9bx squared is equal to negative 3x squared. Divide both sides by negative 3x squared. Okay, and we're going to get 3 over here. B is equal to 1. Divide both sides by 3, and we're going to get divide both sides by 3, and b is going to be equal to 1/3. Okay, so most of the time this works out because, again, when they're trying to do this multiplication or this idea where they're distributing over the parentheses, the SAT does this trick where the first term always equals to the first terms multiplied together, and then the last terms multiplied together will always equal to the last term of the polynomial. So b here should be equal to 1/3. Okay guys, so last question, number 38. It says the rectangular mirror shown above has a width of 3 feet and a length of 5 feet and surrounded by a mosaic with a border of x feet. If the area of the mirror with the border is 35 square feet, then what is the width x in feet of this border? Okay, so that means, let's see, the mirror itself is 3 by 5, so this is 3 by 5. Okay, and then they said that with a border of 30, okay, the area of the mirror with the border is 35. Okay, so how can I get 35? So let's see, it's going to be plus an x, and then it's going to be plus an x here, plus an x here. So this is like saying 3 plus 2x times 5 plus 2x, and that should equal to 35. Okay, you can either do a quadratic over here, but I mean, why don't we just, let's take a look. Between 3 and 5, we can just make this like 5 times 7, right? So if I add 2 here and I add 2 here, yeah, so this is just 5, and this is, so if I add 2 for each, so basically you can just make this as 2x is equal to 2. So 2x is equal to 2, divide both sides by 2, and then x is just equal to 1. So for 38, the answer should be x equals to 1. We could try to use a quadratic over here to solve it. So, I mean, we have some time, so why not? Let's try it. So if we did this over here, it'll be 15 plus 6x plus 10x plus 4x squared, and that equals to 35. And then if we try to solve it this way, we get 4x squared plus 16x plus 15 is equal to 35. If we then try to simplify this, we're going to get 4x squared plus 16x minus 35 here, minus 35 over here, and that we're going to get minus 20, and that equals to 0. We can divide everything by 4. We get x squared plus 4x minus 5 is equal to 0. And then if we factor this, we get x plus 5 and x minus 1. And then we get x is either equal to negative 5 or x is equal to 1. And since you can't have a negative answer, x should be equal to 1. Okay? All right, guys, so that is the conclusion for the math section with calculator of the May 2021 exam. I hope that this video proved useful to you guys. If you can do me a favor and keep me motivated, please press that like button, and please subscribe also for future videos. And again, timestamps are in the video description box below. If you stayed with me for this long already, thank you so much. And have a good day, guys. Happy studying. Hope you guys get the SAT scores that you guys want. Thank you very much again. Bye-bye.